Are you ready for some football on a Thursday night? You better be. Why? Boy, oh boy, we're going to Green Bay, Wisconsin. And no, it's not going to be November, December. It's freezing temperatures. We're actually getting some decent weather here and a great game because this game could determine possibly home field advantage for these two ball clubs later in the season. It's the Washington Commanders and it's the Green Bay Packers. Jayden Daniels versus Jordan Love, 8:15 tonight from Lambeau. If we look at the opening line, Joe, -3.5. We look now. Some outlets still showing 3.5, but DraftKings, Bet365, some outlets here in Vegas, -3 points now creeping into the sports landscape. A total, which was 48.5, still sitting at 48.5 at most outlets. Some places like BetMGM have moved it to a 47.5. Let's start here with the handicap. It is game day, so I want to ask you this one question. There's 3.5s and 3s in the marketplace. Where do we wind up with the spread tonight, Joe?
Yeah, I don't think you're going to get 3 again, Donnie. That's where it started, and it was bet up to 3.5. The only question is how disgusted was the public with what they saw from Detroit in week 1 there? Do they think that Detroit is terrible, or do they think the Packers are absolutely no joke here? And if they think the Packers are no joke, they're going to run to the window and they're going to bet the Packers. Short week. And we talked about it here. I don't like the fact that Washington started off the year against the Giants and committed 12 penalties. It wasn't as if they were crisp or did not look like they were in October form. Green Bay, however, against that Detroit defense, which I think is better than what the Commanders are bringing to the table, they look like they had been playing since September, and we were in the middle of October here. So I think it's all Green Bay here tonight. Short week, no way on these spots, especially early on, do I want anything to do with a road team going someplace like Lambeau and pulling off the upset. So I think it's a little chalky here tonight. I would, however, look at the total, though. I think maybe the value lies in that spot.
Yeah, we look at both of these football teams and certainly high expectations on the season. The Packers made the playoffs last year, lost to the Philadelphia Eagles in the playoffs. The Washington Commanders made the playoffs, lost to the Philadelphia Eagles in the playoffs. That game was in the NFC Championship game. Both of these teams coming in relatively healthy for this one. We are going to take a look in just a few moments at Micah Parsons, but before we get there, the quarterback battle. Jordan Love, good quarterback. Same thing with Jayden Daniels. We look at their price points here on their player props. Passing yards, 227.5 for Jordan Love. Jayden Daniels at 225.5. And the passing touchdowns, of course, both listed over 1.5. But the juice is a little bit different. Jordan Love at a -112 price and Jayden Daniels at a +122 price. I think we get good performances, Joe, tonight out of both of these quarterbacks.
I do, but I also think Green Bay is going to spend a lot of time hammering between the tackles, and they're going to be running the ball as best as possible. I think Josh Jacobs is going to be the key for Green Bay. I think they're going to take advantage and get the rushing. Now, listen, the Giants couldn't do that because they were playing from behind the entire time. Not that they would have been able to do it anyway. But the reality is here, we didn't see a lot of him last week because early on it was the Jordan Love show. I mean, he was completing passes to 9 different guys. He was all over the place. But I think tonight, especially on a short week, we're going to get a lot more power running from the Green Bay Packers and ball control, if anything, here.
Yeah, you take a look, too, because it is a Thursday night game, and it is a major travel disadvantage for the Washington Commanders. But sometimes, Joe, you can handle it a little bit easier, right? Second week of the season, as opposed to week 14 when you're banged up and you got to get on a plane, you got short rest, you can barely get out of bed until Tuesday morning, and oh, no, it's Thursday night. I got a national game underway. So that's something to keep an eye on. But some of the fun prop markets that we love to look at, just like with the quarterbacks, is the touchdown market. You're not getting any cheapies here on Josh Jacobs, a -195 price. But what goes along with that is, when you get to the goal line, he is your go-to guy. Like, oh, no, somebody's going to steal his carries at this point. That's not happening. That's why that price is appropriately priced at around a -200. Terry McLaurin, +155. Jayden Daniels, +175. Debo, +175. If we're going the running back route for me, of course, it's probably going to be Josh Jacobs. You can throw him into a parlay. But I always like when I take a look at, like, star wide receivers, Debo Samuel and Terry McLaurin, both at plus money numbers. If we're expecting a game, Joe, close to 50 points, you figure that we're getting 1 to 2 touchdown passes out of Daniels, and it's probably going to go to one of those 2 better wide receivers.
Yeah, and I think Kingsbury is going to make an effort tonight to get McLaurin way more involved in this game. I think that there's going to be a lot more designs to try to put the ball in his hand. I would not be shocked if Debo gets a ton of looks and opportunities. I think his reception prop was 4.5. But I mean, how do you not like it? It's easy money. Yes, it's pricey, but when you look at the fact that Josh Jacobs has now scored a touchdown in 10 consecutive games for the Packers, that is a franchise record, by the way, that he already broke when he punched in for the 9th straight game. Yes, it's chalky, Donnie, but if they're inside the 5-yard line, guess what? Guess who's getting the ball for the Green Bay Packers here? Yeah, I don't mind that at all.
I always like to say, Joe, like on the touchdown props, like we saw even in week number 1 on Thursday Night Football with the Philadelphia Eagles, like, don't you dare take Jalen Hurts. Don't you dare take Saquon Barkley. We're going to price them out where you don't want to take them. What happened? 2 touchdowns for Jalen Hurts and 1 touchdown for Saquon Barkley. You know what I mean? Like, that's what it feels like. I'm not paying that price. And then you sit down, watch the game, crack open a beer on the first drive, 1st and goal at the 1. You go, I knew this was going to happen. And you just got to sit back and watch it happen at that point here. But if we are talking about other competitors here, Micah Parsons. Hey, Washington Commanders game with the Packers. He's unfamiliar. No, he's not unfamiliar with them. He's played them tons of times being an outside pass rusher for the Dallas Cowboys. Take a look at some of those statistics going up here against the Commanders for Micah Parsons. 10.5 sacks against them, 15 quarterback hits, and 29 pressures. But here's the key, Joe. He's struggled with back issues. That's not a full work week. It's like, hey, you know what? I played Sunday. I get to play next Sunday. You play Thursday. So even more limited for Micah? Or do we expect a big impact tonight from Micah Parsons?
Oh, I think you'll see him. We did see him sparingly in that first game against Detroit, but when we did see him, guess what, Donnie? He was effective and caused a turnover, got to Goff, was in his face. That's what he does. I think they will use him early on in the season in spots, especially 3rd and longs, those types of things where Jayden Daniels could very well be under duress. So I think he will have an impact on this game. Won't take it over, but he'll have an impact.
No doubt about it. He's out there. You have to account for him. That's having an impact. Like you can say, like, hey, let's be a decoy guy. You still got to be like, okay, running back, make sure you chip this guy and be your best offensive tackle. Make sure you handle him. And then somebody else is going to rush in there and get a sack. Big time NFL game tonight. We're going to continue handicapping it next. Washington Commanders, Green Bay Packers tonight live, 8:15 p.m. Eastern from one of the most historic places you can play in the National Football Field, Lambeau Field in the frozen tundra. Not really going to be frozen tonight, and that's okay. We should get a clean slate here. We should get some decent weather conditions. But also, Joe, I want to bring up these type of games. You saw it last year to open the season in Brazil. Philadelphia Eagles, Green Bay Packers. Why is that game? Oh, it's early in the season. You can recover it. Sure you can. But these two teams don't play twice in a season. These two teams play in the NFC. If these two teams are tied at the end of the year, you know who gets home field advantage? The winner of this football game. So it's a high-stakes game in week number 2. Both of these teams being 1-0 can certainly put a leg up in the NFC with a victory tonight. We looked at the spread there, -3.5s and -3s. Total, 48.5s, 47.5s across that sports landscape. But we always love it, Joe. The prop bets are a lot of fun to go after. We talked about some of the passing props. Let's look at the wide receivers tonight. Because you're not getting, hey, look, Justin Jefferson, 90 yards. A.J. Brown, 88.5 yards. The high man on the totem pole tonight, it's Terry McLaurin. 55.5 yards. Jayden Reed, 38 yards. Deebo Samuel, 54.5 yards. You get a mixed bag here with a lot of value on the Green Bay side. So if we're looking at wide receivers tonight from your eye point, Joe, where are you going?
Yeah, I think McLaurin is at the top for a reason there. I think that without a doubt, they're going to try to get him more involved in the game plan. They didn't really have to do a whole heck of a lot or show a whole heck of a lot against the Giants, right, Donnie? Because they had that game pretty much in hand. They knew defensively they were good to go. They weren't going to empty the playbook there on the Giants. But I do think McLaurin, he needs to get involved. And I do think that Deebo Samuel will have some opportunities this week as well. So I think, in fact, he might have more of an opportunity to impact this game than what McLaurin is, because if I'm Green Bay, anybody but McLaurin is going to beat me, right? I'm not letting Terry McLaurin open the game up and beat me with 12 catches, for 105 yards and 2 touchdowns. So I do think Deebo, a lot of dink and dunk maybe, and is going to be that safety valve. And I think his over receptions at 4.5 is a good deal. Yeah. And I also like Deebo to get into the end zone for Washington tonight.
Yeah, you like to see those numbers too, Joe, because why? We don't have a 37.5. It's a 48.5 here. We're expecting
Hmm.
points on the board here, which means that you're probably going to have to use the passing game primarily to do that, and a lot of cheap numbers on both sides to watch out for. But let's flip it over to the running back side. We're not going to worry about who the bell cow in the backfield is for the Green Bay Packers. It's Josh Jacobs. He's listed at 76.5 as a prop. We're probably figuring on him, Joe, right? 15 to 20 touches in this game as a running back, not including catching the ball. So it should be there. And if they are favorites, maybe it's an extra couple carries in the fourth quarter to secure that. But I want to look on the opposite side, the Washington Commanders, because you still got our guy named Bill. That's Jacory Krosky Merritt. And you say to yourself, all right, 40.5 rushing yards. It looks more and more from when you read the tea leaves in Washington, they want this guy to be that lead dog back there. How do we approach the running back position tonight in this game between the Commanders and the Packers?
Well, you mentioned, Jacory Krosky Merritt there. What a debut, though, right? Now, we
Yeah.
figured out why it was they were willing to move on from Brian Robinson. Well, 10 carries, 82 yards, and a touchdown last week
Yep.
tells you why. And so, yeah, I think if it ain't broke, they're not going to fix it here. I think it's important that they try to establish the run. I don't think it's a great idea, especially with Parsons hanging around. And you mentioned the history there. He sacked Daniels 4.5 times in 2 games last year. So I don't know if they can have any success running the ball and keep this game close. I think he's a pretty good bet to get up and over the yardage and the carries again.
I love Jayden Daniels. I really do. I think he's a great performer. But sometimes when you look at a game, you say, how can I fit him in here and make some money? Whether it's on his arm or throwing touchdown passes, sure, he can do that. Game number 1 against the Giants. 11 carries, 68 yards. And I say, wow, that's important. The Giants have a really good pass rush. You escape the pocket, you can get away. There are some lanes to rush in. Same thing with the Green Bay Packers. When you're early in the season, in a game this big, sometimes the quarterback's going to take it into his own hands. I do have expectations that Jayden Daniels, he can eclipse 50 yards rushing, Joe, which would hit that 46.5 number to the over.
Yeah, I like that as well here. I mean, he is going to be the good thing about him, right? Both these quarterbacks, in fact, keep an eye on here tonight because they might have to use their legs more often than not. And that includes also Jordan Love, who I think his rushing prop, 5.5 yards.
Yeah.
I kind of like that one as well there, Donnie.
I can hear right now from one Joe to another talking about Joe Lisi. Jordan Love, 5.5. Ultim to 25.5 and get that big payday out here, people. Let's talk more hot topics in the NFL, which includes the Chiefs. What's next? We'll be right back. Joe, we're only 1 week into the season. Injuries already creeping up. I mean, heck, they started in training. They started in preseason football, and away we go into week number 2. But some of these teams can't afford these injuries. The one positive for the Kansas City Chiefs coming into the season is like, okay, now look. You made it to the Super Bowl. You had a good season. You couldn't handle the Eagles. We're lacking a little bit of pop at the wide receiver position. Oh, look at this. We got another wide receiver coming back into the fold, and that's Rashee Rice, and let's see what we can do. Now you don't have Rashee Rice or Xavier Worthy, but the question is, how sooner than later is Xavier Worthy coming back into that Chiefs lineup? Field Yates put out a tweet yesterday. No surgery and no IR, which we at a minimum of 4 games missed for Xavier Worthy suggests a return in the near future could take place, which means they need him back, yes, sooner than later. They didn't even want to say, hey, you can be fully healthy in 4 weeks. We might need you back in 2 weeks because if we go 0-2, as we say, there is no tomorrow, Joe. They need him back, but he's not going to play this week. But maybe they dodged the bullet where it's not 8 weeks on the injury.
Well, that would be a huge bullet to have dodged because, again, we know what Rice is gone for a bit of time here during the start of the season. They've already started 0-1, lost that game to the Chargers in Brazil, and then he went out on a couple of plays into that game. And then all of a sudden it was just Hollywood Brown who had 25. He kept, what do you have? Like 10 catches, 12. All he had left was Hollywood Brown, which, by the way, not a bad look here as far as the prop betting market goes, because who else is Patrick Mahomes? Who else is he throwing the ball to? I mean, 10 passes, 99 yards, 10 catches, 99 for Hollywood Brown last game. I can only see that increasing until Worthy gets back.
And how about this? Travis Kelce had to come out and say he takes full responsibility for his collision with Xavier Worthy. And, of course, he should at that point because Worthy didn't see it coming. And Kelce looked like he just basically ran a pick play on his own player. And now you come away with that injury, and that hurts. And, by the way, like if you were had some Xavier Worthy props in that game to get 3 plays out of the guy. My goodness, Travis, did you have him? You were playing him on a fantasy opponent where he's on the other team, friendly fire at that point. Tough that it happens, but it is football. Collisions are going to happen. You just hope those collisions aren't with your own football team, and those collisions don't knock players out for multiple weeks at a time. But the Chiefs and the Eagles going to tee it up this Sunday, 4:25 p.m. Eastern, 90-degree temperatures at Arrowhead.
Honestly.
Should be fun. Go ahead.
Let me ask you a quick. Do you think there might be some free Taylor Swift tickets in the locker of Worthy sometime soon? That's maybe a little. I'm sorry, didn't mean to run you over like that. Here's a couple of front rows to Taylor, or you think Xavier's like, nah, I'm good, man. Thanks though.
Yep, he's angry at Travis, probably playing into the facility today, and we are never, ever, ever getting back together. They gotta imagine your teammate knocks you out for 4 weeks. You could say like, hey man, Ed Reed hit me so damn hard he separated my shoulder, but that's football. That's not football, Joe. It's not football.
No. And couple of tickets to see Taylor Swift is not going to make me feel any better about it either. So just like giving you a heads up there. 13 years in a league, my man, running over your own player, and an important player at that is probably, maybe we are at the end for Mr. Kelsey here. What do you think?
Exactly. Like, what do you give this Xavier Ware? Like, look, maybe you can't give a cash compensation because it's against some sort of like NLPA rule at this point here. Give him 4 front row tickets to our next show and say, hey, buddy, you don't have to go. Put those bad boys on eBay. That should settle a couple G's for there, make you feel a little bit better. That's how you get down. I'll tell you who's not getting down right now. That's Tyreek Hill right now. Never good. Then the NFL opens up an investigation because your name is being smeared across social media because your now ex-wife says, yeah, allegedly you beat me 8 different occasions here. Now, understand this about the NFL. They're not the FBI. They're not the police department. They are not judge and jury in the fashion that we think day to day. But they can act. If you don't get convicted, they don't care. They can still suspend you, Joe, and that's a key component here.
Well, it doesn't make a difference, right? Whether prosecution happens, doesn't. This is completely different, and we've seen it on a number of situations over the years. They don't care what the outcome of any sort of court or law enforcement investigation. No. If it makes the NFL look bad, if they think where there is smoke, there is fire, they are going to protect the shield, which means we may not. Listen, we're not seeing Tyreek Hill a lot this year anyway, Donnie. Who are we kidding with the Miami Dolphins? So maybe it's just best that he go away for a little while.
And by the way, look, nobody feels sorry for head coaches in the NFL. Once they become a head coach, they are paid for life. And yes, you have to put up with a lot here. Number one, the scrutiny of your organization and your city that you play in, or coach in, I should say. If you're not winning, you'll probably have to getting fired. You got to hear it on a day-to-day basis. You probably can't go out to dinner and relax because people are always upset. But also at the same time, you want to coach the football team. And instead, he's going to go to the podium every single day and be like, hey, the press, can we ask you again about Tyreek Hill and what you're hearing from the NFL? And Mike McDaniel's going to have to answer that every single time. Less distractions is good in football, not more. And the Dolphins look like they have more distractions now, Joe.
They do. Not to mention, there's an issue now with Darren Waller, who they brought back in, right?
Oh, that was a great move.
Yeah.
Great move.
And now all of a sudden he's making comments that they're like, well, at some point we're going to have to do what's best for the team. So what are you telling me? He's never going to play for the Dolphins? Like, what? You got to be kidding me here. So yeah, not great in Miami all the way around.
By the way, Waller was always injured, could never catch to save his life. Yes, he is fast, retires to be a rapper. You never hear from him. And only the Miami Dolphins are like, it's a good move, Joe. Let's make a trade for Darren Waller. That'll help this organization and this locker room out. Like, you take a look at like Chris Greer and McDowell. Are they just saying, you know what? Just pay me, Mr. Owner. I want to get out of town. I'm going to make every stupid decision I can make so we all get fired and have compensation with a golden parachute. That's all I can think about.
6th-round pick to the Giants for the rights to a guy that really was injured, retired, like you said, music. Now, and by the way, any conditional 2027 7th-round pick. So congratulations. This dude apparently may never see the field, according to McDaniel, because he's got to, quote, at some point do what's best for the team, Donnie. You can't make it up, man. You can't.
Unbelievable. Imagine it was one of those nights where, like, the Minnesota Vikings were sitting behind the Philadelphia Eagles, and the Eagles went Jalen Reagor, and they went Justin Jefferson. Like, what?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
doing what here at this point? Like, that's what
Yes.
the Giants, like, who never make any right decisions, go, man, we just found a pot of gold right here at this point. Just the way it is sometimes with organizations, and nothing is good right now in Miami. Allen Iverson said one time, practice? Yeah, practice. Deron Bland, foot injury, multiple weeks, 4-year, $92 million extension here. The Cowboys, man, Jerry Jones, what are you doing down there? This is tough.
Jerry, I just want to give you a clue here. Had you not given him that money, I promise you he'd be on the field for this game. I promise you he would have been motivated to play this game. Just saying, money like that, Nani, does very interesting things to injuries with guys.
And exactly, like, we're not saying in the NFL that guys technically would fake injuries, even though some people probably linger around. But understand this. If that is a 4-year, fully guaranteed $92 million contract, Bland's probably like, you know what? IR me for the season. Let me get right for next year because it doesn't matter. You can't now at that point. You get IR as soon as you come off, then Dallas Cowboys go, yeah, you know what? Restructure your contract. You're out of here. Take your guarantees. You're not getting the rest of it here. That's why the NFL can never have fully guaranteed contracts. Oh, look at the Cleveland Browns. How's that working out for you right now? Yeah, not so good at this point. How about Malik Nabers? He's not happy in that offense, and why would you be? Russ can't get you the football. You're a wideout. Your team stinks with no future. And he says, it's not really Brian. Yes, just admit it, kid. We know it. You're frustrated with this team, and you should be.
Listen, I think the only saving grace there is that they do have a quarterback in that locker room, which guys like Nabers and others are just waiting for. So it not all is hopeless. It's not like Danny Dimes is the backup and they are like, what's the difference at this point? I think the future is bright. I think the guys on the offensive side in the Giants locker room, I think they're just buying enough time to be able to get a guy in there that they'll really rally around.
Yeah, when you're not scoring touchdowns on a week-to-week basis, skilled players, particularly wide receivers, they start to get upset about that. We'll see if they can correct that against the Dallas Cowboys this week, who are down Deron Brand. Maybe that helps there with Malik Nabers at this point. Are you ready for some football on a Thursday night? It is an NFC party. There's no doubt about it. 2 1-0 teams kick off tonight, Joe. Washington and Green Bay, 2 talented young quarterbacks here, Jayden Daniels and Jayden Love. 8:15 tonight. And one of the more historical places in the NFL, it's Lambeau Field. If we look at the line, -3s and -3.5s, which is key. We don't have to shop, Joe, at only one place here. Only getting the 3.5. Look around, get the best price. If you want to take it, you want to go to like FanDuel, 3.5. You want DraftKings, 3.5. You want MGM, 3.5. If you want to lay those points here, you're going to head over to Bet365 or even the Westgate out in Las Vegas, showing a -3. The total in this game, 48.5s to 47.5s. Once again, shop around to get that best number. But I'm excited for tonight. And I love the fact that the dress rehearsals are out of the way. Green Bay had elevated competition last week, or at least we think in 2025, taking on the Detroit Lions and easily dispatching of them. The Giants, not a lot of expectations, but for some reason, a couple preseason games started to fuel the fire that the Giants might have something. They have nothing. So now you have 2 teams coming in on double-digit victories here. Something has to give tonight, Joe. What gives?
Well, I mean, it's interesting. The look-ahead line was only a field goal for the Packers, which I think makes sense, right? I mean, home field advantage at Lambeau, but after we watched, Green Bay basically manhandle the Lions, and while the Commanders were able to handle the Giants, it certainly wasn't the same. Nobody walked away with the same kind of impression by the Commanders win like they did the way the Packers won. So, yeah, I understand why it got pushed up, and the hook is available here, and I think it's going to stay available. I'm not sure we're going to get back to 3 here, and I think the reason is, Donnie, is that you're going to have significant bets laying the 3.5 on a short week with, to me, is the better team at home currently right now. I'll go back to it. Dan Quinn, undisciplined team, 12 penalties in that Giants game. I don't know that you can clean that up in 4 days. I like the Packers here tonight.
Yeah, usually, again, NFL teams may be a little bit different, like high school and college. The more improvement comes from week 1 to week 2. In the NFL, it's not really improvement. It's just like, okay, we knocked the rust off in week number 1. Now let's get after it in week number 2. And it's a decent little plane ride there, going from D.C. over to Green Bay, and that's a short work week they have. So the advantage in the travel, certainly, with the Green Bay Packers. And the Packers didn't even have that where, okay, we're on the road last Sunday, so we got to fly home Sunday night. They played home on Sunday. They didn't have to go anywhere this week, so we'll see how that plays into it tonight. tonight. If we are looking at the quarterbacks here, because they're going to be on full display tonight. Passing props for Jordan Love listed at 227.5 now. That's on the rise from that graphic where you see 223.5. Live on Jayden Daniels, 225.5, and the touchdown props over 1.5. For me, I want to play this from a Jayden Daniels perspective because we talked about it earlier, Joe. I think so key is the ground game. And I don't mean the running backs. I mean the ground game from the quarterback himself. I think he can get 50 yards on the ground. But if you say, Donnie, if you're going to throw 2 touchdown passes, I actually believe more touchdown passes could come from Washington than Green Bay. And it's not to say because Jacobs is going to steal a couple of those. I just look at those wide receivers for Washington, and I just think there's a chance for 2 touchdown passes for Daniels. But more importantly, he's up against a really good pass rush. I love the legs of Daniels tonight. Give me him over 50 yards.
Yeah, listen, he's going to have to, I think, because I do think they're going to bring the pressure, and he's going to be a little bit under duress because we just saw that Jared Goff was under a lot of duress and kind of threw that game for a loop for Detroit. And Micah Parsons will be used. He'll be used in spots where you're going to need to get to the quarterback. And, yeah, that's going to require Daniels to be, he's going to have to run with the ball here tonight. So I kind of like that. But I also think, and what we watched last week with Jordan Love is that this guy is completing passes to everybody on the team, it felt like, Donnie. It was, you get a completion, you get a complete 18 and a half completions for Jordan Love here tonight. You tell me, is he capable of getting to 20? I think so here. None of them have to be 90-yard bombs, but they will methodically be able to move that ball here tonight like they did against Detroit.
Running back position, Joe. Josh Jacobs is easy to talk about. Bell cow, it's simple. Do you think he gets over 76 and a half yards or he stays under here? Do you think he scores a touchdown? We know the opportunities, barring injury, will be there. Or a game plan where somehow Washington jumps out to a 28-0 lead at the break. We don't think that's going to happen either. But flip it over to Washington's side. I just told you, in the running game, I love the quarterback here. But what gives with Krosky merit in this game? The reason I bring it up is, at FanDuel, I'm just looking now, 40.5 is his rushing prop, Joe. We go back to last week. 10 carries, 82 yards. That's 8.2 yards per carry and a touchdown here. Is this another breakout game for him, or is the book saying, slow your roll? He's still a young player, and you might be playing from behind in this game.
Listen, that kid was phenomenal. And again, he had to be used and used often there. It needed to be because there was really no reason to give the Giants an opportunity to get back into that game because even though they made it inside the 5-yard line a couple of times and came away with only 3 points, the reality is it was ball control for Washington. They didn't show a whole heck of a lot. I don't think they're going to have that luxury here tonight, Donnie. I think the kid is going to be used less because I think Jayden Daniels is going to have to go more with the arm and to the wide receivers here for Washington.
By the way, some fun props, too, because more people probably betting props now, Joe, than just the side or a total when 10 years ago, that's really all you were doing. Even the advent of, legalized sports gambling in 2017, the prop markets weren't as robust as they are now. I'm just taking a look at some of these fun ones here, like Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt and Josh Jacobs to get 5 rushing yards in each quarter. It's a plus 650 price. If you want to flip that around a little bit, Jayden Daniels and Josh Jacobs each to get 5 rushing yards in each quarter is also a plus 650. I love fun bets like that. If I'm going to take a look at the guys that I love in this game, which Josh Jacobs is getting the football, and I think Jayden Daniels is going to run, sometimes you just need to get through that first quarter, and you got some fun bets you can have on some of these props.
Yeah, I agree here. And again, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
Josh Jacobs, 10 straight games with a touchdown for the Packers. There's a reason why his anytime touchdown is that big. But can I go even further, Donnie, to say, give me the first touchdown of the game, Josh Jacobs? How's that?
Oh, punch it in. 1st and goal at the 1. Love to see that here. How about this one? Deebo Samuel, Josh Jacobs, and Terry McLaurin to combine for 4 touchdowns. Now, one guy can get 4 touchdowns. You cover that, but 3 players to get 4. I miss the days of old when they were testing these markets out, Joe, where they gave you the option for just 3 total touchdowns with 3 players. Those were fun. You know how much fun they were? They lasted about 2 weeks because, the books were like, what? We're getting our backs broken on this type of wager. So now it sits at 4, but the price points plus 650, plus 750, plus 850, they're certainly fun at that point here. I spoke too soon on Major League Baseball. Why? Because we got to get a couple previews in here for the NFL Week Number 2 action. Now, these aren't straight up handicaps. We're going to take 3 to 4 minutes apiece and say, here's exactly who's going to win. We just want to whet the appetite, Joe, right? We just want to get the people in the know. Like, yes, you're looking forward to tonight's game. Yes, you're looking forward to Saturday afternoon college football action. But you have to know some of these games this weekend and see where these lines are sitting. We're going to start here in New York. That's New York City. That's the New York Jets. I guess moral victory on week number 1. Hey, the Jets look competent here. The Jets actually are saying if you play poorly or if you fumble the football or drop punts here, you will not be on this football team because that's what the culture demands. But we take a look at the culture here in Buffalo that goes, we were left for dead in the fourth quarter. Our fans were leaving the building. Josh Allen wasn't happy, and they came back and beat the Baltimore Ravens. Buffalo Bills, New York Jets from MetLife, minus 6.5-point favorite here, Joe, early on for those Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, well, it was 7, and then of course that dropped down here. But you got to love the move by Aaron Glenn, and maybe just maybe it's a new era for Jet football. Certainly, it feels like a new aura because Xavier Gipson, who fumbled that kickoff there, that punt leading to a touchdown for Pittsburgh, ultimately cost him the game, is no longer a New York Jet, and that was the end of that. We learned that this week, but now you got Buffalo coming to town. And Buffalo has dominated them, Donnie. I mean, let's be reasonable. Yeah. Josh Allen has absolutely owned the Jets, but this is not the same old Jets. Obviously, you could see the running game. What did they do in Baltimore with Baltimore running all over this frontier of Buffalo? Yeah. That's not going to change with the Jets. I think getting close to a touchdown, well worth taking taking the points here in a shot with the home dog.
Paint the fingernails, get a sloppy undershirt, go out and play yourself some quarterback in the NFL and lose a football game with a double-digit lead in the fourth quarter. That's what the Chicago Bears did last week, but they're going to take on Detroit. And by the way, if you're looking at, you probably hoped Detroit won last week against Green Bay because they are going to be out for blood at home to prove that week number 1 was a fluke here. The Chicago Bears are getting 6.5 to 6 points, depending on where you're shopping, in a total of 47.5 to 46.5. Must-win situations for both of these ball clubs in the NFC North.
Yeah, do you know he's 0-19-1 when Ben Johnson or Sean McVay not calling his plays against the number. You like that?
Hey,
Donnie, you think coordinators matter here? Yes, they do. So here's the situation. I do think that we are going to get a bit of a turnaround here for Detroit at home. I would expect more than anything else, Donnie, the running game to get more involved here for Detroit. I think basically once Chicago is playing from behind, I think they become extremely one-dimensional with Caleb Williams, and I like the defense of Detroit. I think the defense is better than the offense. I think that spells trouble for Caleb Williams this week.
How about that? Tough scene there for the Bears going 0-2. Ben Johnson. Oh, no. What did I sign up for? We'll certainly find out. That game's going to kick off 1 o'clock in the Dome, Ford Field. And one of those teams is going to drop to 0-2, which is usually a death nail in the NFL. 4:25 p.m., maybe the game of the weekend, the Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs, a Super Bowl rematch with the Philadelphia Eagles as the favorite right now at -1.5 in a total of 46.5. Warm weather on the way. But those reserves at wide receiver, they're going to be tested for the Kansas City Chiefs for sure.
Yeah, well, I mean, not a great defensive game there for Philadelphia against Dallas. Well, a lot of that had to do with one of their best players getting tossed before the game even started. But they'll have him back for this. But listen, it has always been, I mean, you're talking about a Kansas City Chiefs team with Mahomes and Andy Reid, Donnie, that when getting points, an underdog of any sort at Arrowhead has been a one-way cashable ticket to back them here. Even if you don't think this is the Chiefs of old, this is a tough spot not to want to back them in.
The old and the new Sunday Night Football. It's Michael Penix and J.J. McCarthy. These two matched up in a quite big game here in NCAA action just a few short years ago. They'll do it on Sunday Night Football, and the favorite in this game is the Minnesota Vikings. However, the Vikings opened up around 4.5. That's dropped to 3.5. McCarthy at home after a big comeback victory, and Atlanta 0-1, desperately seeking a win.
Yeah, it wasn't. I mean, listen, he's not going to step back and throw the ball a ton, McCarthy here, at least not until Jordan Addison, I think, gets back and they can figure out some mismatches. In the meantime, expect a lot of Jordan Mason, some Aaron Jones there, but I do think that Atlanta can bounce back here and get it done in this matchup here on the road as a dog.
Lean on Bijan. Make a T-shirt out of that, Atlanta. You're going to need that on the road in a hostile environment in a game that you absolutely must win. Closing it down in style on the early line. It's what we do each and every day. And also, we like to leave you with a little bit more money in your pocket and something to go away with. Now, the good part about it is it's Thursday night. We got NFL action tonight, but also tomorrow is a Friday. And as we like to know around these parts, Joe, Friday is payday. And we'll get to Friday. Don't you worry about it. But this is the time of the show. We like to reach out to the people and get the vibes on some of the hottest topics. And one of those hot topics tonight, it's about the Packers and the Commanders. Here's our Fade the Public poll. We back and we fade, and we ask easy questions here. It's early in the morning. You don't want to think too much. You just want to say, you know what? Question makes sense. Push the button. At SportsGrid, our Twitter account, on X here. What is your best bet for tonight in Commanders versus the Packers? We asked you 4 separate things. Over, under, Commanders, or Packers. You know who leads the way right now? The Green Bay Packers at a -3.5. Joe, actually went Commanders plus 3.5, even though I never take the road teams on a Thursday night. I'm sort of feeling the Commanders a little bit, Joe. Where did you go in this poll today?
Yeah, I mean, it would only be Packers or pass for me in this one when it comes to the full game, Donnie. I think that hook is there and it stayed there for a reason. At this point right now, if you don't see this thing go back to 3, I'd be concerned because it's by kickoff. And really at this point, if you like Washington, bet it. If you like Green Bay, Donnie, hold off and see if it drops down to 3. If it does, there you go. You can jump on in. But I think that hook hanging around tells me a little something about the market. And either way, I think Green Bay at home on a short week is still the right side.
Let's see what happens tonight. Micah, Parsons and the boys, star power left and right. Both good quarterbacks here. Some nice players on the ground. Wide receivers. Lambeau Field as a backdrop. Who says no? Certainly not these two guys here talking about this game. Can't wait to watch that play out. But more importantly, can we make some money here? Here's bye. We came, we saw, we conquered last night, Joe. We gave the people what they wanted, a 2-0 night. It's Thursday. The pressure is on as we roll it over into Friday. My question to you is, where are we going tonight? Baseball winners? Football winners? I don't know. Is the WNBA even playing anymore? I don't know. But we got to find some winners somewhere. Where are you going?
I bet Caitlin Clark will not be playing. Oh, that's right. She's already been ruled out.
But what's those ratings?
So is Brock Purdy, apparently. But tonight I'm going to stick with the Thursday night football game. Amazon Prime tonight, by the way. So if you're scrolling around with the room, like, where is the Amazon Prime night here, Thursday night tonight. And I am going to look at the Packers in the first half, Donnie. The number is 2.5. And quite honestly, I think what you saw last week against Detroit is a superior coaching job by LaFleur and that Green Bay Packers staff scripting. And we all know, Donnie, right? The adjustments, they come at the half. But when it comes to scripting plays and getting your team in a position to play from in front, nobody does it better than the LaFleur. He did it last week. I think he's going to do it again this week. I think they will come out. They will do their thing. They will have at least a field goal lead by the time we get into the third quarter. And then let's see what Dan Quinn and Kingsbury and company, let's see what they adjust to in the second half. But I like the Packers at home in a short week to have the lead at the break.